Hello, this is Michael Eure, and I'd like to invite you to the Michael Eure Show, featuring student hosts and very special guests talking about a variety of interesting topics. You can find us on the Eagle Stream YouTube channel. Good afternoon and welcome to the Michael Eure Show. We are back in person for the first time in over 2.5 years, and so we have a few technical difficulties, but be patient with us. So we got some very special guests with us today. Could you introduce yourself? And anybody that's coming backstage, please let us know, and we'll try to bring you in. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll begin. My name is Greene. I'm a cybersecurity major here at Wake Tech. I'm about to graduate, and I've been doing the virtual streams here with Michael Eure, but now I'm in person.
David.
My name is David Kwong. I'm a former student success coach student. I'm currently a NC State graduate student for aerospace engineering.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Clarence Dawson Jr. I'm currently the assistant professor of graphic design and the director of 1704 Media at City State University. And I'm glad to be here in person with Michael Eure today.
All right. And I'm going to ask Sarah if she would just check for us and see if anyone is backstage.
It's just Taj,
Okay, he needs to come.
but he's not.
Hello, Taj. Could you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone. It's nice to see you. My name is Taj Hewitt, and I am a associate of science student here at Wake Tech.
Well, you're in the island of Jamaica, so I know you're not worried about anything.
Well,
Okay. Tell him try speaking again.
All right, say something.
hello.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, here you know.
Yeah. Speak up louder. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's good to be here today, and I am a associate of science student here at Wake Tech. I was a student of Mr. Eure's back in the fall semester of last year, and I'm a student host for today.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of things that we're trying to run through. So what I'm going to ask Sarah to do is we're going to just have a conversation, and we will have a follow-up show to get you all of the links. But one thing that I did want to say is we have, over the past 5 years, worked with a lot of different organizations. The Museum of History in particular, we've done a lot. We went live to their African American Culture Celebration twice. And we also work with the Museum of Science, Natural Science. We work with Wake Tech's Career Services. Of course, we work with Pathways No Mentoring. And I'm going to just ask David, because you're the oldest that's in the room that I've worked with. You're not the oldest one. But tell us about your experiences when you were at Wake Tech, because you were kind of the first student that I got to really get deep into volunteering.
My experience is, overall, it was an amazing experience. I had so much fun with getting to know students, peers, faculties, and teachers. Want me to start from the beginning, or
No.
Okay.
We're going to come back to the beginning.
All right.
We're going to come back to the beginning. But you did well.
Yes.
And then I know you're going to talk about your NC State in a little bit. But let's do you, Jerry, because you get ready to get out. Cybersecurity person.
Yeah. My experience, I attended Wake Tech for a good little while until COVID hit, and then everything went online, and then that's when I got introduced to Michael Eure. I know when I started doing Wake Tech online, I was kind of stagnant. I wasn't really doing a lot. I was just doing the homework and trying to get in. But we started doing this the streams, interviewing new people every other week, learning about new things. I started learning more about the services Wake Tech provides to new students and existing students. So overall, it was a pretty good experience.
All right, thank you. And Clarence, all the way from Elizabeth City. And I love that place. And we took some students there right before the pandemic. We shut down like the very next week. But it was for your winter homecoming. And one thing that I remember two of our students saying that was significant is I could see myself going to school here. So that tells me we need to connect our students to institutions like that. And now tell us about your experience, because you also did virtual and that as a faculty member and a staff person, administrator.
Yes. So as an administrator, working with academic affairs and kind of assisting with the whole transition from face-to-face to virtual was a task, because it took a lot of learning for a lot of individuals who were just used to getting paper and everything. So doing that virtual was a huge change for a lot of the faculty and staff. I've done it for years, worked either virtual or Skype and different things. So it wasn't that big of a change. I was actually happy about it because sometimes it pushed for years, but I think the biggest thing was just getting everybody over that hump, that learning curve. And I went back last semester in the fall and started teaching classes. And I taught 2 classes and I did a hybrid. And I could tell that, we need that face-to-face interaction. Being here at the table talking with another is just, it's something about that personal interaction that goes a long way. So I'll be back full-time in the classroom this year, and we'll be back face-to-face at Mississippi State University. Still practicing some COVID protocols in place, but other than that, we'll be 100% back in face-to-face. Look forward to it.
Now, Jerry, you served on the Technology and Communications Committee with the Museum of History, along with a lot of people. Clarence, Dr. Smallwood from North Carolina A&T. I don't remember everybody else up there. They must not have did very much. But I'm just joking. It was a great committee. King McAllister, and Ophelia kind of was a liaison with us for Doris. Tell us what that was like for you.
Me personally, I feel like I was kind of more on and off of the board. I joined a good amount of the meetings and heard about the different types of things they were trying to explore at the time, and how, sharing ideas, throwing out ideas into the wind to see what would work for the celebration. But overall, I think they got a lot of good talent in the group.
Right. And we really did recommend having events on, particularly A&T and Elizabeth City's campus, because of the possibility of virtual. But we were kind of shut down. No, we're going to have it at the museum, and then it had to be virtual, and we couldn't do it. They did some things in the museum, but it was far. It was a small from what it used to be, and hopefully this year it will be. But Clarence, your students, because you teach, I won't say your students know how to do documentaries, and they actually came to the museum and helped you and them help do some of the footage for the, I guess it was for what, the education day or both days?
It's for the education days. So exactly what you're talking about. I'm the director of 1704 Media Production in the city, and that's something we started a few years ago. Actually, during the pandemic, through an event we had virtually. Well, we go back a little further. In January of that year, we started what was called Check Your Resume, which was a live in-studio. We have a recording studio on campus. Live in-studio recording event. We recorded live music events. Our last show was that Friday before we went into quarantine. So we had to figure out a way to keep this going because everybody loved it, and we wound up doing a virtual. And we also had a documentary team that we had started before COVID with the Museum of History, the African American Lineage Project, which was looking for World War II veterans. And so our documentary team went out and we documented the World War II veterans in North Carolina. And then come around, COVID hits, and we need to put together videos. So we are again partnered with the North Carolina Museum of History, and we came here for 2 days and we interviewed and recorded the artists. So it was for the, I think, arts and education. 2 artists there we recorded 2 artists at the museum, and then there was another lady who owned Sherrill University. We went to her shop and recorded her and did an interview. Well, no, they did that virtually at the museum, and then we put it together. And then there was another lady that Dr. Smallwood had recommended to us in Bertie County, Ms. Eleanor Williams, who cooked snapping turtle. So we actually, we went out and recorded her from process to plate. I would say from the pond to the plate, preparing the snapping turtle for the game. And all those we use with my team of students. Produce those and they were used during the virtual event on the African American Culture Celebration website. So you actually, if you go to the website on the YouTube page, it's Eleanor Williams is that snapping turtle. But it was an initiative that was kind of birthed out of the need for the pandemic.
And we're going to keep on talking about this African American Culture Celebration because everybody at this table has been involved. Although Jerry, you've been virtual and you've been kind of hybrid. But you, David, actually came and helped with our booth at the Wake Tech in the actual event. Tell us what you thought.
I had an amazing time. I got to interact with a lot of community members, African American, from around North Carolina, and I got to interact and talk about the different cultures, history, and it was a very interesting experience. And I like it very much.
Okay. And so what we're going to do now, and I know that you and
PowerPoints if you want those.
so we're getting ready to look at some PowerPoints from previous shows that Jerry Greene put together. So if you want to just say what they are as she scrolls them across, Jerry, that would be fine. And thank you. And this was from 2017, and it's not necessarily all of them.
Mhm.
It's most of them, or is it half of them, Jerry? I know it's not all of them.
Yes, it's some of the more recent ones. All right, this one right here, we had a show with the Dean of Library Services, Dr. Coronado Davis.
Yes, that's right. And thank you. He was very good. And we can go to the next one.
Here we talked to Dr. Michael Beck. He's the Dean of Arts and Humanities and Social Sciences here at Wake Tech. And
No, and I just want to say this
Yeah.
title changed to Senior Dean for Liberal Arts. That was since that show. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Jerry.
no problem. And right here we talked to Dr. Chris O'Riordan Aja. We had a show where we talked about career opportunities in engineering and technology.
And stop there. And David, you actually were in one of our online kind of conversations with him when we did. You were at NC State already,
Right.
but we talked about engineering, and he came to talk for the engineering students
Right.
with Renee Darchie from Cisco. Do you remember that? No.
Yes, maybe. I think I asked him questions about, he did a paper about education, I believe, secondary education, not secondary, but college education. I think I asked a question about that.
No problem.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're
And
gonna
I also
go.
met him during what was the festival? What was the Hispanic festival?
The African American.
No, not the African, the Hispanic festival that we had.
Oh, the African American Latino mixer that we had. Okay.
That's
Yes, he was there. That's true.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Okay, that's good. Dr. Chris, and he has a podcast too. He says, let's talk. You were on his show.
Yeah, I was on his show.
Yeah, he's very good. All right, so we're going to go. I know that we're staying with Chris, but career opportunities in IT. We had Renee Dartrey, and you know those other two people because they're in the IT department.
Yes, sir. Al Leaston and Renee Daughtry. As far as I know, Renee Daughtry is a really important figure in the IT community. So is Al Leaston here at Wake Tech.
And Noreen Kim
And Noreen Kim.
over data science. And Renee has been on several shows, and he might be trying to get in virtually, but all of the people that are trying, he will get another chance. Trust me. Let's go to the next. Okay.
Here we talked to, this is a show on career and volunteer opportunities at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, and it features Cindy Bogan. I don't want to mess up your name.
Cindy Bogan.
Bogan, yeah. Albert Irving and Sarah.
Sarah is Raquel or something. Her name is a little different. She'll forgive
I don't
us.
want to mess it up, really. Though.
She'll forgive us. But they were, and Sarah's going to put the links to a lot of these shows, or even just to Eagle Stream, and you can see all of the shows.
Mhm.
But they were trying to make sure that Wake Tech students became more involved in internships and volunteer opportunities, and they couldn't understand why they hadn't really done it. But that's true with a lot of things. We're in Wake County, but we're not always of Wake County. But no, right now we're reaching and rallying, and we're getting all these places. So I feel good about what you students have done
Mhm.
and people in the community to bridge these gaps. But they do want students to do internships and volunteer, and they can document, and that looks good on your resume. Go ahead, next.
Here we had a show featuring Brian
And
and
Waller.
Waller.
Yeah.
He's the athletic director of Wake Tech.
Yes. Thank you. All right.
All right, here we had an interactive historical discussion about 5 HBCU campuses in North Carolina.
And to stop there. And now we got somebody from an HBCU campus. So what's so good about them, Clarence? What separates them from the PWIs for students?
Well, one, HBCUs were built at a time when students of color or Black or African American students could not attend PWIs.
Okay.
So I would say from my own experience at Elizabeth City, and from everybody I've talked to, it's that sense of home that you get. And the time I stepped on Elizabeth City campus, actually, and my first choice was North Carolina Central. I felt that sense of home. You felt that sense of belonging, where you were not just a number at those schools. So one of the things a lot of students, and you're getting a great education. So you're not getting a subpar education to the PWI, but you're actually not getting a better or just as great education as any school in North Carolina or in the world. I've had friends who went to Elizabeth City, any one of those schools, who are now either leaders of industry or in their field, entrepreneurs. And also as the owner and co-partner of HBCU Games, I have to put that plug in over here.
Yeah.
I'm a huge component or supporter of HBCUs, just because they're here. They give our student support on all different levels.
And we want to talk about this a little bit more because these are the 5 public HBCUs.
Right.
And we did start in order. I don't know if you remember who went first year. It was Fayetteville State. And so they actually are the oldest, and they started off as a private school called the Howard School. And they had a person from their history department. And then the second school was Elizabeth City State, and they're the second oldest public school. And I know it's March 1891, but we won't say it. So these parents will give me a clue, give me a quiz if I get the wrong date. And then immediately, a few days later, was North Carolina A&T, Agricultural Technical State University, also in March 1891. And then next is Winston-Salem State, which was started as a Slater Industrial Academy as a private school and also became public. And the final one was North Carolina Central, which is 1910, North Carolina Central University. They are the baby of the bunch. So we had that's going to be a show you really want to see. And one thing that I liked about that is all of the information. They talk about research. Dr. Donald J. Benson from Winston-Salem State talked about the different kinds of research that goes on at HBCUs and going out in the community and doing research on the creative arts and entrepreneurship and health disparities. So I just think that was significant. And another thing that was said, and I'm just not putting A&T on a pedestal, but what I don't think a lot of people knew is that they are number 3 in the UNC system for getting funding outside of state. And that's a big deal. And their graduates are number 2 in salaries of the whole UNC system. So you don't get, as Clarence said, a subpar education. You get a great education, and we got to not be, scared by the boogeyman and the boogie women. So we can go to the next one.
Here we had an interactive conversation with a few female first responders.
Right. And this was interesting to me because it was female first responders. And we had the dean of the public safety campus, and she was a first responder. And I think somebody was military. I don't remember all the details, but I thought it was fascinating. And I like this, and people that don't know Wake Tech, this might not make sense, but it is a combined effort between workforce continuing ed and curriculum, and it's in one area. And that's very good, because that concept of one college, we shouldn't treat one group of students different than another. They're all students.
Right.
So let's go to the
And
next. Go ahead.
while you're on that, for the first responder, since I'm here, I'm going to plug it. We do have an emergency management degree.
Okay.
So students can come and get emergency management degree. And it's also connected with our UAS program.
And I also want to say Elizabeth City State, and I just know this, we had an articulation agreement recently with our president, with your aviation program, which is quite really blowing up. And I understand y'all will be all over the state, set up kind of satellite workshops with airlines. Okay, I want to stop. Keep going. Keep going.
Here we had an interactive discussion about supply chain management, project management.
And one thing that I liked about that show is they talked about those students graduating making $90,000 with 2-year degrees. Nobody knows this. So this is a very important, and it's completely online right now, but they're trying to do more on campus. And a lot of their students do have masters and bachelors, but that certification that they get, and they can get the degree. So I thought that was very little known fact, even on Wake Tech's campus. So let's go to the next.
Here we had a featuring with Dr. Jackie Swanick.
And I know that Todd is going to talk about this later when we bring you back, because he participated as one of those START interns. And that was wonderful. And students, you get to work with researchers from 4-year schools and other institutions. And I know we work with North Carolina Central, we work with A&T, we work with Duke, Chapel Hill, NC State. And I know Akeem wanted them to work with Elizabeth City. And I think that they said they would love to if Elizabeth City would contact them. So hopefully they will. All right, next.
Here we had a spotlight on Wake Tech Career Services.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of shows with career services, collaborative shows. And this was like the very last show we did. And it was bringing in their staff people and talking about the different functions. You know, there's some parts that help you with employment. There's some parts that help you with resume, and a whole nother part that helps you do your whole career path and make sure you're in the right major. And people don't think of career services doing that function. And I know they don't mind me saying it. They can work with students at the moment they are and apply. They don't even have to be a student. And they work with the community. They go out in high schools and they work with all our students for free. And that's a big deal. Go ahead to the next. Oh, are we finished?
Yes, the last one.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we finished with that. And Akeem McAllister, I see you're here. I don't think you're trying to get backstage. Probably. If you are, she'll bring you in. But thank you for coming. And we all gonna have some good old jerk chicken and curry chicken in a little bit. And that's gonna be the big reward for your participating. Go ahead. Student engagement.
This one right, this meeting right here I wasn't a part of, but this was a video of student engagement in the virtual environment.
And this was when you came with the other person, that was a continuation of that. So we were trying to see how were the students impacted by having to be virtual. And those are 4 students that I work with, all 4 of them. So they were just talking. So thank y'all for participating back then. Next. And that is a question. But we were going to play this, I think. But don't worry about it. You want to read the question, Todd? Not Todd. Jerry.
As a question, that's a strange.
It is another question.
That's not a question.
Oh, okay.
That's not a question.
I'm sorry. All right.
This is the part where a lot of pictures.
Oh,
This was a stream. This is actually a stream that I was first featured on, featuring artist Keith Knight.
And what was that like?
It was really interesting because he actually has his own Hulu show called Woke, and he's a cartoonist.
Exactly. Awesome. Yes. And thank him.
Yes,
Really,
man,
that
I
was all
really
that
thank
show.
you.
I think I watched y'all show us where I found out about his Hulu.
Yeah.
And he's a trying
That was really cool because he started talking about his show. I was like, that's really nice. Here we had a featuring with Earl Imes, part 2.
And Earl Imes is a curator at the North Carolina Museum of History. Yeah. And he came to talk about Juneteenth, and he's always a guest. He's been on the show 3 times at least. Like I said, yeah. And then we did Freddie Greene and Black Music Month and Juneteenth, but we kind of just talked about Juneteenth as a reminder of what Earl has said. But Freddie is an excellent musician. He performed. He was at the African American Cultural Mixer, and he's performed for many events I've attended. Go ahead.
Here we had a tasty, healthy, and easy to prepare meals and snacks for the holidays and throughout the pandemic, featuring Paula Norris.
And Paula Norris is somebody that I met through Dietrich Clark, and I went to a cooking class with a program he was doing, and we were going to do it with our students at Wake Tech, and then we had a pandemic, so we didn't, but we might try to revisit that. She's very, very good. She's from Brazil, I believe.
Here's an interactive panel discussion with men of color or possible global solutions to ethnic relations.
And Akeem and Richard are actually here, and they both, we're going to bring you back. We've done them several times. They talked about great experiences. Akeem talked about going to South Africa with fellow students from Elizabeth City and other schools. Jose talked about going to Mexico and trying and being part of the statewide leadership program for community college students. And he came back with, they had to do a project to come with a program where Wake Tech's Latino students would go into the local schools and try to prepare them for college. And Richard talked about the fact that we did not yet have a Truth and Reconciliation Commission in the United States, and I thought that was awesome. He is a student success coach as well for Pathways.
Here we discuss the triracial identity of Tuscarora, Meherrin, Nottoway, and other Native Americans in North Carolina, Virginia, and east to west, featuring Dr. Arwen Smallwood.
And Dr. Smallwood, that show, well, that was our highest rated show. We don't know why. I mean, we were virtual, but he was good. And I know, I looked at it yesterday, over 74,000 people, which is good for me. You know, when it starts off with 70 and then it gets to be 74,000. So that's the good thing. He was good. He was talking about a lot of stuff. Oh, go ahead.
Here we had a featuring with Obelia Exum, graphic design and supervisor and creative director at the North Carolina Museum of History.
And Obelia is awesome. And she actually designed my poster. So I thank you so much, Obelia. All right. And Clarence, you've been on the show with her.
Yes, I met her at the culture celebration.
And this is Renee Daughtry from Cisco Systems and Symmetry, and he's been on several times. But he is very, very good about getting people involved in technology. And at a young age, he does robotics in Durham, and he's trying to get more in Eastern North Carolina. So that might be a good connect for you. For sure. Like, keep going. I'm sorry. We got Sarah in the background. We just working her. And I have just enjoyed it. And we know that we are probably winding down pretty much. And if and for the audience, we're just checking for questions in the chat and if you had any. But thank you for participating. Yeah.
You said no question.
No. I'll say if you want to read or no.
Do I want to read the comments?
Yeah.
If you want to, I can. It's no problem. It's no problem.
We're going to get to your comments in a minute.
Yeah, I can see it. I hear Josie George said happy 5th anniversary.
Thank you, Josie.
You want to take turns?
There you go.
Sorry, I don't have my reading glasses
It's
today. So,
I'm not good, Jay.
so we have Rashid Graham. This is good afternoon.
Thank you, Rasheen, for joining us. I know you just came back from Kansas today.
The Super Kings also says congratulations to 5 years.
Thank you, Akeem. All right. So we are like.
One final comment. Hey, Ruth, happy 5th anniversary.
Well, we're good. We're winding it down. And I really do appreciate y'all working with us with our technicals. But as I said, Sarah will be putting some links in the chat for you to look at some particular shows. And then if you have any questions, I guess I should give you my information.
I do have, there's a question actually.
There is a question in the chat. You want that, Jerry?
Y'all read it.
Okay.
Rashid Graham asks, while attending Wake Take, was anyone inducted into Phi Theta Kappa? If so, what was that experience like for you?
Phi Beta Kappa. Is that Phi Theta?
Phi Theta.
Phi Theta.
Phi Theta Kappa.
Is that the honor society?
Yes, I think it's the honor society. I think I was in that society during the last 2 semesters. It's been a while. so, I mean, the society it helps you a lot with involvement in the community. You get to do a lot. I remember that they had a get together as far as this was pre-pandemic, so we got to do a lot of stuff outside the classrooms in the community with the community. And it also helps you with if you want to find scholarships, for your education. It helps you maybe in future jobs. It can help you with that. Resumes.
We have several questions.
Some more.
Mhm.
Okay. You the official question.
Yeah. Brian Ryan asks, Michael, what has been the best part of this show for you?
The best part for me has been working with students and connecting them with people in the community, because that's what I do. I'm a connector, and so it's natural. But I love to see a student like Jerry, who comes and he volunteers 1 time, and then it's 2 times, and then he's a Success Coach Outreach Ambassador. And the same thing with David Kwame. What I've done is taken what was a physical thing and made it to a virtual thing. So I like that about it. And I want to say thanks to Wake Tech Online, because the first show we had with Dr. Chris Rottenberry was really a result of me working with online students. And I went to talk to him about texting, and then he talked about, do online students get success coaches? And I said, yes, and I want you to come talk to my classes. And then I said, we can make this like a little radio show or a TV show and do some public service announcements, because we were focusing on a career. But anyway, he started it, and he said, welcome to the Michael Eure Show. And the very first guest is Michael Eure. And that's how it got started. So y'all can go back and look at that. So yes, thank you, SVP Ryan.
All right. Rashid Graham asked the second question. Has anyone received any financial backing, such as scholarships, based on your performance as a Wake Tech student?
I know that either one of you have an answer. I don't know. I know you pay out your pocket, don't you? Go ahead.
Me personally, I don't really receive any financial backing. I receive financial aid, but I know I live with my father, so I receive assistance that way into financial aid.
Hey,
No, I don't think I got financial aid when I was here at Wake Tech. As far as scholarships, I did not get any. But I do know that Wake Tech hosts a lot of scholarships events where you can write like essays and different essays, and that can get you different scholarships.
and we have done some scholarship essay workshops, but a lot of students do get them. It's a big deal. I think if you don't apply, you won't get them. And the Wake Tech Foundation does one common application that goes to all the scholarships. So that's a good deal. More?
Yeah. Rashid Graham also asked, did each of you know that you wanted to continue your education to a 4-year university before, while, or after attending Wake Tech? Me personally, I don't have aspirations right now to attend a 4-year university after Wake Tech. Because just recently, actually yesterday, I think today is the end of the summer semester, and this is the day I'm supposed to graduate, finish up with my classes. So real soon, I'm gonna be looking to go into the workforce. But maybe like a couple of years down the line, or maybe sooner than later, I might be interested in attending a 4-year.
Okay. And I'm going to let you, David.
For me, I'll be honest. At the start, the very beginning, when I started college, I wasn't so sure of whether I want to attend a 4-year. But as started like towards the middle and near the end, as I decided which degree I wanted to get, then that's when I figured that I do need to get a 4-year degree or continue to a 4-year college in order to complete my degree in aerospace engineering. So not everyone has to decide where they want to get go on a 4-year, but you know, not everyone knows what they want to do.
Oh, yes.
So,
Oh, yes. And that's good. And what Jerry said is important because your major is cybersecurity.
Right.
And I've had students before the pandemic graduating making $65,000. And I know people with master's degrees that don't make that. So it's a good idea.
It depends on the field you're going in. You know, most of you can get, sometimes you can, like I say, you can get a nice paying job with your associate or your certificates. It all depends if you're going to aerospace engineering, then you may get that 4-year, and then that master's and all to advance. But it would just depend on what field.
I think it's important to weigh your options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's one thing great about the North Carolina schools. We're like Elizabeth City and different schools we take. We have these articulations, so if you want to, it makes transferring a lot easier. So I know you're at NC State,
right.
So your transfer was a lot easier because
Right.
the articulation that you have for different schools. So
And I'm glad you brought up articulations because a lot of students that are in the social applied science they don't know that even though they're designed for immediate work, they also transfer, but they don't transfer to all the schools. But it's important that students know that. All right. I think we're winding down. I keep saying that, but question.
That's all the
That's
questions.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
good question.
Yeah,
Thank you.
questions.
And Professor Graham, I know you're just starting, and he is an IT professor, network technology. So thank you for participating. This is the second show you participated in. I appreciate it. You haven't even been at Wake Tech but a month or two. So now it's time for everybody to say your final thoughts about your experiences overall, like 1 minute, 30 seconds. And what would you say to the audience one thing that you would like them to take with them?
One thing, what I would say is that I enjoy my time here at Wake Tech. You know, I attended Wake Tech in person and then get transferred to online. But I do want to say that the online version of Wake Tech is not bad at all. You know, you exercise the resources that Wake Tech gives you. You know, if you need help, the ILC is always open. Career services is always there. I think it's just important to know that Wake Tech has a lot of resources that they want to provide to students, but you gotta go out and try to look for it first.
And look for stuff in the beginning.
Yeah, look for stuff in first. Yeah, in the beginning.
David.
I mean, I couldn't say that. I mean, Wake Tech, they do offer a lot of resources, and if you don't know where to find the resources, there's always an online site that you can find, or you can talk to student success coaches. They can direct you to the right person, and hopefully you can find the right person to talk to, find the resource that you're looking for.
Clarence, I know you got great words of wisdom. Thank you.
Actually, these gentlemen said it all. You know, use your resources that you have at school, your student success coaches, to the technology that you have and everything. Use that, and then once you find what you're going to do, and you're looking to move to the next level, come on over to the Northeast, NC State University, and we'll make a home for you there. But yeah, definitely thank you to Michael for including me in this and being a connection. You all have great connections here at Wake Tech. Use what you have, your resources to get better.
And thank you everyone for attending. And I know we have people spread out, COVID consciousness in that regard, but we are going to say goodbye. Everybody can just say goodbye. And thank you all for coming.